All right, good morning, everyone. Today, for math, I'm going to be teaching you the second day of elapsed time, and we're going to continue on and finish some of the pages or some of the questions on our workbook that we didn't finish yesterday. And I'm going to try to make this lesson pretty quick so you can get right to your work and you guys can get to moving on to other things today. All right, so today, elapsed time, day 2. A couple things that you really need to remember for today. One of the first things is that in an hour, you have 60 minutes. Remember, 60 minutes in an hour. Okay, so if the time for minutes goes over 60 minutes, then it's more than an hour. Think about it in that way. All right, so with that being said, do some math before I give you the answer. How many minutes are in half an hour? Okay, 30 minutes. If you said 30 minutes were in half an hour, you were right. So when we say an hour, a full hour, we're talking 60 minutes. We're talking a half hour, 30 minutes. And you want to figure out how many minutes would be in an hour and a half. Yep, if you guessed 90, you were right. Okay, moving on. We're going to get right to the word problems that we're going to use to solve some problems today. I'm going to show you how to find elapsed time using a different strategy, using this table right here with the time listed. And we're going to be using real life situations and word problems. Okay, the first one I want to read to you. Ariana started watching Frozen 2 at 3:10 p.m. The movie ended at 4:53 p.m. How long did it take her to watch the movie? Okay, so what we're trying to figure out in this question, and when you see that kind of a question posed, how long did it take? You're thinking about elapsed time. So we're thinking about the difference between 3:10 and then 4:53. Okay, so in order to do that, one of the best ways to solve elapsed time questions like this is to just count up. Count up your hours and then count up your minutes. So you got to think about difference here too. So you kind of have to do some subtraction and you kind of have to do some adding. So the easiest way to think about it, in my mind, is to do a little subtraction. Okay, so 3:10. Okay, we're going to think about it in that way. Now, we know for our hours, our first time listed, we got 4. Okay, so what is the difference if we go from 3 to 4? How many hours have passed? And thinking about the hours first. If you guessed 1 hour, that's exactly right. Because think about it, 3 plus the 1 is going to get you to 4. Okay? So in reverse here, thinking about the next one, if we're at 10 minutes after the hour, after 3 o'clock, and we were to get to 53 minutes after 4, what is the difference between those two? So what plus 10 is going to give us 53? Now, if you're doing some math in your head and you've already figured that out, the answer is 43. So the amount of time that Ariana spent to watch the movie Frozen 2 would have been an hour, and 43 minutes. So if you guessed an hour and 43 minutes, you were exactly right. All right, moving on to the next one. Jashu is traveling with his family from Tampa to Miami. His family starts driving at 8:05 a.m. and arrives at 12:25 p.m. How long did it take his family to get to Miami? Again, we're looking at that question. How long did it take? So we know this is an elapsed time question. And we know our time is going to go from 8:05 to 12:25 p.m. Now, the biggest change with this question is you got to think of the change of time between a.m. and p.m. It's not as long as you think in this case. Because if you're at 8:05 a.m., to go to p.m. is not that long for hours. We're going to go ahead and figure that out using this table once again. So we're trying to get to 12 down here. And we're trying to get to 25 down here. And we want to think in adding up, doing a little algebra here, what are we going to add to each of those two numbers to get to those? Now, some of you are saying, well, why didn't you put p.m. down here? Why didn't you put a.m.? Well, if you go in time from that 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., it's not a shift over as many hours as you think. In this case, it's just going to be exactly what you think, which this number would be 4, because 8 plus 4 is going to give you 12. Okay, same thing with this 05 here. If you're going from 5, really what this is just 5 to 25, you're just going to add 20 onto it. So right there you have your elapsed time of 4 hours and 20 minutes is how long it took him to get from Tampa to Miami. Now, I don't know if that's really the actual time, but it's pretty close. All right, going down the last one here, Braylon. She's making necklaces for her friends. She starts making them at 7:20 a.m. It takes her an hour and a half to finish the bracelets. What time is it now? Okay, so this is still an elapsed time question, but it's asking you to do a different step here. In this case, we don't know what the end time is. We know what the elapsed time is, though. So how do we figure out the end time? Well, we kind of go in reverse. So if we think about it here, we don't know the number down here this time, but we know what we need to add. So we're going to simply put our hours in here and then our minutes in here, and we can figure out the elapsed time pretty easily by just adding them together. So if we add 7 plus 1, we get 8. If we add 20 plus 30, we get 50. So if we take this bar away and we put a colon there, you have your time right there. The time is 8:50. Let's see, what would it be, AM or PM? If you said AM, you were right. All right, so now that we finished that, you can go back and rewind the video at any point if you're not understanding anything, so watch it again. We're going to go ahead into the questions from your workbook. There you go, Frozen 2. I actually figured out the actual time. All right, so this is what you did yesterday, right here. And this is what we're going to do. Oops. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to do number 5, 6, and 7 in page 539. Now, pause the video at this point. Pause it. Try to solve these 3 for yourself, and then unpause to see if your answers are correct. Go ahead and pause. All right, at this point, I'm guessing that you unpaused. If you did, I'm going to show you again that strategy of using that chart to solve for the elapsed time. Okay, so we're going from 10 a.m. in this case, and we don't have any minutes, we just have 0 for the minutes, to 3 p.m. Now, oops, back up and erase that real quick. All right, so a little harder than you think with this one because we have to go up to 12, and then after 12, we have to continue on from that point. So it's not as easy as using this chart as we did before. You really just got to count out the hours here. So really, we can use a clock in this one, or you can use that number line if you want to. But if you think about it, if we go from 10 to 11 to 12, that's 2 hours right there, and then we would just add the additional 3 hours at that point. So how many hours would have passed? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The elapsed time from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. would have been 5 hours. Okay, looking at number 6. Okay, this one, you can use that strategy that I was showing you before. We're going to make our chart. Okay, we're going to start with 9, and then put 15 here, and then we want to get to 10, and then we want to get to 45 here. Okay, so what are we going to add to 9 to get to 10? Well, it's just 1 hour. And then what do we add to 15 to get it to 45? Well, we're going to add 30 to it. Now, how do I know it's 30? Well, if you don't know the algebra here, and you're trying to figure out what the missing added is, you just subtract, guys. 45 minus 15 is going to give you 30. So the number that goes in here is 30. So an hour, 1 hour, and 30 minutes, or an hour and a half, has gone by from 9:15 to 10:45. All right, last one. Now, we know the start time, we know the elapsed time, but we don't know the end time. So we're going to use one of these clocks to do our hours, because look at our hours again. It's not as easy to do. You can't do this strategy that we just used for this one because you have to go up 5 hours from 11. So we're going to use this first clock here at number 4 to go up 5 hours. Okay, we're going to start at 11. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you look, I land on the 4th hour. So I know my hour is going to be 4. Now my minutes, I'm at 30, and I've got to add on 25 minutes. So really in this case, I can just take 30 plus the 25 minutes. It's not going to be an hour, so I know I don't have to switch my hour over because it's not going to go over 60. So it's just going to be 5 here and then 5 here. So the time that it's going to end here is going to be 4:55 a.m. Okay. At this point, I hope that you understand what to do. I'm going to have you on your own complete page 540. You don't need to do all these. The big ones that you need to do are number 13, if you could. Oh, you know me, always forgetting that button. 13. You definitely want to do number 11. And then see if you can figure out number 10. Number 8 and 9, if you can get to them, no big deal. Number 12 is great review if you get to that too. But the big ones are 13, 11, and 10. If you can get those done and then check your answers by going to the library, you'll find this page with the answers in the library, and you can check your answers right after you finish. All right, that's it for today. Hope you guys learned a little bit about elapsed time, and we'll be moving on to a different concept tomorrow. Have a great day.